Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we have some pretty fun stuff to get to share and show, react to, talk about, and everything else in between. Because if you guys do not know, as of today, there was a pretty big official announcement over here when it came to the brand new Bungie game called Marathon. Now, Marathon, if you guys do or do not know, is, well, gonna probably be a really big game for Bungie right now, because Destiny 2 is kind of in a weird flatline position, and at the same exact time, they don't really have a new IP in the works that's probably close to coming out. That we do know that Bungie right now is working on a few different games, and right now we don't necessarily know if there's gonna be a Destiny 3. A lot of rumors are saying that that is actually not currently in the works, and as well, there was always a really big Destiny 2 PvP audience, and they're gonna try to probably segue this on over to this game and kind of see what happens in the PvE side when it comes to Destiny. But all that aside, we are kind of on a pretty hot cake over here. PlayStation spent quite a few billions of dollars to get Bungie, and right now this is what they're trying to go and do. Right now, Escape from Tarkov is one of the more bigger games out there when it comes to looter shooter, arena shooter type games, and extraction shooters, which is kind of the idea of what they're trying to make this game. So we're gonna go talk about this, talk about the drama, talk about how PlayStation's kind of riding on this, and I would love to hear your thoughts and comments on everything down below. So make sure you guys are subscribed here or swing by the Twitch stream, the Twitters, and the second YouTube if you guys want to, all linked down below. So as you guys can kind of see from initial impressions on gameplay, the game is kind of very Destiny based, if you guys ever played Destiny, PvP, but a little bit more on the slower end. Now, the idea behind extraction shooter type style games and these arena type shooters is you essentially have like a set time limit to go and explore a map, explore an area, and you can go collect loot. You go and you fight other either NPCs. Sometimes there's like bosses if we're doing this on the same idea as Tarkov, or other players. Now, what we've kind of also learned too from the reveal and gameplay from a lot of stuff from Marathon is that there is a few differences from Escape from Tarkov and other various games such as Destiny or Call of Duty. So this is kind of just like my first impressions, what I've actually had a chance to see so far. Also, we're seeing on the gameplay itself. But that's just like the big picture of how these types of games work. And I do think this is a genre that's not been fully fleshed out. Escape from Tarkov has hit that niche very well, but it's a very hardcore competitive game. That game, you have to like look at different types of ammo types. You have to have different types of armor stuff. You have to literally go and like dismantle specific things. There's hotkeys if like your weapon jams. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. Like if you get randomly like hit enough in a leg, you have to make sure you're literally applying specific bandages and trying your best to go use different types of like sutures to go and fix different types of like cuts or whatever it might be when it comes to your character. Very in-depth game, and people and gamers love it because it's a very hardcore game. Now, I do want to say from what I've seen so far in the gameplay, and you guys can see this right over here from the Marathon gameplay itself, a lot of the gameplay, it seems a little bit more on the casual end. A more mixture of like I say, probably Destiny 2, which would make sense, and also like Call of Duty's Tarkov. If you guys remember, there was a Call of Duty game mode that was very similar to Escape from Tarkov. That was like when you kind of basically drove around in like little doom buggies, and you had to go and fight other people as well as AI, etc. So what we've kind of had a chance to see is that there's a few various sub-actions of these characters. So you have different types of like, kind of think Battlefield, where Battlefield has, they just have different types of characters. You have like a healer, but the healer can drop like, they can drop ammo, they can go and give you resupply. Some people heal you, some people go and revive you. Like, that's probably not the best example for Battlefield, but just trying to give you guys the general gist of it. And that kind of lets you have a slightly different gameplay experience if you are squatting with other various people, such as you also have things like, either finishers or revives. And at the same time, like you're basically trying to get like a bunch of different type of gear and move on from that. And I think this is the type of style of game I like. Like I mentioned, there's not too many games out there that are in the same exact vibe, where it's like an extraction shooter. You have to like kind of be fine-tuned in certain areas. You have to get to certain like extraction slots. Like, I think it's cool. And like I said, there's only maybe like 2 or 3 games that have done it relatively decently well. There's another few, I think like The Island is another example on the niche side, but probably Tarkov is still probably the best game to use as an example for this type of game. But overall, there's a lot of like first impressions and thoughts, and I do think that PlayStation is riding on this. Like, this is going to supposed to be like a huge IP for PlayStation, and I would love to hear your thoughts. Be honest with me, based on the gameplay, based on the review trailer, if you guys saw it, or anything it might be. I do believe as of right this second, Marathon has potential. Although, there's a few things to note. I do think graphically wise, I really enjoy this graphical art style, but I do think it's a little bit more on the less intensive side, less shadows, less extra details, and I think the idea is that they want to make this on every platform, so PC, Xbox, maybe even the Switch, who knows, because this game does seem like a game that should be around everywhere, and I think that's okay. Like, as you guys can see, the game looks cool. Stylistically, they should be launching, I believe, with 3 maps, a bunch of different characters, and here's more of an inventory example of, like, what things might be worth. You may want to select certain things, you may want to sell certain things, whatever it might be, you get different weapons, etc. which is cool. Like if you guys like these types of like progression style games and saving games and trying to get this golden run where you somehow go make as much money as you possibly can, that's why people like these types of games. It makes all these like PvP elements something that's intensive and something that you have to worry about. And you're worried about if you ever lose your gunfight or whatever it might be. And that's why I think people like games like Marathon, because that's just an example. Like you have to be invested in your character. You may potentially lose hours of investment. And some people may like that, some people may not. I personally like it because it kind of puts my PvP against others. And while you're not going to win every round, if you win enough rounds or you have a few rounds where you can even, people like to go and call them kind of like roaching or snaking or whatever it might be if you're an Escape from Tarkov player, or scavving, which is basically you run around as like with a bunch of cheap gear. You go and try to get an extraction to go get like better gear in the future, whatever it might be, basically scavving around because the characters in Tarkov are called scavs. But you have things like this. There's like a loot box. There's like a big drop over here where these containers might have specific things and you have like more expensive items. But I think it's cool. Like I do think the first initial impression I've seen so far with Marathon is this is a game I think I would like to play. Now, there is a few concerns, though, in the initial impression, because it is going to be a $40 game. Now, it's not the world's worst thing. I don't mind a $40 game. And it's also very, once again, similar to Escape from Tarkov, where they have a few set different variances of what you get and how much you pre-order and pay. But also, we've kind of learned, no offense to Bungie and PlayStation, that a lot of these games are very microtransaction heavy. To the point where, you know, like they do have a lot of battle passes. They have like in-store stuff, microtransactions, like everything else. Like there's a lot. And that's what some people are concerned on when it comes to this game. Now, if you guys don't know much about Escape from Tarkov, they do things called wipes. Every few months after the gameplay's kind of gone through their cycle, they reset everyone back to level 0. People really enjoy it because it gives people a fresh start. People don't have OP gear. People who played a bunch don't necessarily have an advantage. And like it's a fun time to reset the entire gameplay experience. We don't necessarily know what they're going to do for this game. I'm not sure if it's more of a casual game where you can kind of pop on and do whatever, but they do have a few set maps, which is nice. Once again, Tarkov maybe has like 7 or so maps as a comparison, and they can probably add more over time. And usually if you can replay through the maps, they're not the world's worst vibe. Like if you have a few bits of variety, every gameplay experience for quite some time should be good. And they also do probably want to have over time more expansions, more DLCs, more other various things to make the experience slightly better. And I think that's good. Like I don't think I mind a $40 price tag. It won't be a premium game experience, but over time it will most likely have more. I just am a little bit worried about Bungie being one of those companies that spends too much money. And too much, like they kind of bloat out the game, or at a certain point you need to have like $300 worth of DLCs to play the game. And that happened a lot with Destiny 2. Although Destiny 2 became a free-to-play game, people were losing paid expansions that they bought. They, for some odd reason, they had a lot of content locked behind stuff. Like it did become a problem, and that was a very big barrier of entry that a lot of folks had. Like that was a very valid concern. Even I had that myself, and I actually like Destiny. I have a lot of Destiny friends who stream it and play it as like their jobs even. But overall, the game itself is cool. But the big picture and kind of like the yap for this video is that this is like something that PlayStation's running on hardcore. Live service is a game that they completely kind of gave up on. We've realized they've canceled a lot of live service games. We've realized that they don't want to give up this style of game because they're obviously investing the money into it because it's Bungie. Like this is Halo maker. Like they probably trust a PvP game. They have Destiny 2 either way. I think there's potential on this. I'm actually very excited for this game. But that is something that a lot of people are concerned on. Like I said, a lot of these live action games and there's various types of games can sometimes falter really quickly. I think the gameplay loop is big. I think Bungie as a studio has the notoriety behind it to keep people playing. I would trust them. I will be a day one buyer. I will play this game when it comes out because I've played Tarkov. I played the Call of Duty version. I played Destiny 2. This is a game that's up my alley, especially if it's a PlayStation type studio game. As you guys know, I'm a PlayStation YouTuber somewhat, so I kind of like this idea. But there are things that I am concerned about, because I don't necessarily know how hardcore the monetization is going to be on battle passes or other various things. It could be a potential issue. No one really knows at the end of the day. At the same time, too, as well, there could potentially just be bad gameplay. Who knows? Like this does feel a bit slower, which is kind of meant to be like that for like a looter shooter. You don't want to be running around crazily, having like supers and ultras and all that. But I do think the gunplay is kind of a weird balance. On my very first initial impressions, I'd have to play the game a lot longer to kind of go and see, try in the early alphas or whatever. Not going to knock it off completely at the start. But as you kind of see this type of stuff, there is a few issues I can maybe see with it, as well as I also mentioned some of the graphics aren't as nice, which is not the biggest deal. You give me a fun gameplay, I'm okay with whatever. Or once again, if the maps are not too fleshed out, they're not big enough, like it may get a little bit old over quickly. I saw a lot of critiques so far in the initial impression that people would play it for a few weeks and give up on it, which would still be fine. Like I played some games for 5 days and I still enjoyed it. I do a single player experience and I don't mind it. But these are all valid concerns because, like, what if the progression isn't good? A lot of things I like about Tarkov is the wipe. So I have that, like, almost brand new, fresh MMO experience, So I know like everyone's excited and everyone's on the same equal footing. And if I play really good, I might even be someone who's better than other folks. Like I actually enjoy that. Like if I can degen 10 hours, which I know not everyone can, and I can go and be like somehow have better gear, better weapons for at least a few days or a week or so, I'm into that. Like I'm a tryhard at heart, let's be honest. But I'm also curious if there's not future wipes, if there's gonna be like a good gameplay loop, what's gonna be the future, what about the progression? I'm very curious on a lot of what could be going on with this game itself as a whole. But so far, I do think the initial impression is very good. I do think Marathon has potential. I think this game has potential. And also everything I've seen so far, it's not the final version yet, although it is coming out September, which is very intriguing because they are releasing this game on the very exact same day as Borderlands 3. I think the idea behind that is that they are probably not going to be releasing GTA 6 on that same release date, so they'd rather go and fight Borderlands, 4 than having to go deal with GTA 6, which I'd be in the same exact mindset, do not get me wrong. But that once again is also going to be an interesting game because it is somewhat of a similar cross-genre, I would say. I think a lot of Borderlands people would play this game and vice versa. Not one-to-one, but I can see it. Anyway, the maps look cool, the graphics look dope, all the trailers and animations that are available as of right this second are very, very cool, at least in my opinion, and I think I like this. Like, I think the game is something that I'm intrigued on. Like, I will play this game, I will like this game, I will want to play this game even more, but I want to know your thoughts on everything down below. Because you have different types of weapons, different types of subclasses, different maps, more maps in the future, and as long as the monetization is not that bad, there's a good gameplay loop, and there's a reason for me to want to play this game in a long-term experience, I think this will be something that will be a winner of a game. I think this is something that PlayStation is going to be happy on, and I do think at the end of the day, this is probably worth the money. If this is the type of live service game that hopefully I'm not going to regret saying this, is a game that we're going to be excited for. Now, there are certain games out there that maybe never hit the mark, such as the Last of Us games or whatever, but so far I do think I put a little bit of faith in Bungie. I put a little faith in, my good old Halo boys. I'm not even sure how many people are still working there from back then, but I have faith. Even the Destiny 2 PvP was fun. If they took up anything for that one, trying to inspire this into a game like Marathon, I think there's some potential, and I think I will be buying this game, and I'm pretty happy with it so far, and I want to know your thoughts and comments on everything down below. I do think PlayStation's going kind of in all on this one. Bungie themselves, too, they lost a lot of money, a lot of employees, and with no Destiny 3 in the works, this game kind of has to work out. So they can keep on hiring people and maybe get a little bit more of a budget boost to put more time and money into Destiny 3. And I'm still surprised that all the leaks are saying it's not in the works. I'm sure there's something in the works over there. Why would they not? But still, crazy to see. But give me your thoughts and comments on all your first impressions over here on Marathon. I think this game looks dope. Subscribe if you guys are new. I appreciate you all so much for watching. The gameplay is linked down below too as well for the proper credit over here from Games Radar. And I appreciate you all so much for watching in the first place. I'll talking about the Twitch and the Twitters and all that stuff if you guys are bored. And I appreciate you all so much for watching here in the first place.